Fuck Win, though.
Alright, y'all, welcome to my podcast, The Musician's Perspective, where we talk about, as you guessed it... Wait, how does this fucking start? Alright, y'all, welcome to my podcast, The Musician's Perspective, where we talk about life from, as you guessed it, a musician's perspective. Today, we're going to be talking about why you should be documenting everything. We're also going to be trying a new thing, where I show you guys what's on my screen directly. It's worked well for When Cooks with Fire, and honestly, the editing process is a lot easier, because I honestly don't do anything. I just, leave it raw, and it makes my life infinitely easier, to be absolutely honest. But anyways, today we're going to be talking about documentation of the artistic process, and the whole premise is right here. I'm going to be showing you guys the scripts that I'm reading off of, or not scripts, more like bullet lists or whatever. This is still mostly improvised, but anyways, documentation is easy, so you should do it. It's really easy to get into, and it honestly takes very little effort. It's easier than creating fresh, new content every single time. It's easier to document the process of writing one piece and coming up with 30 pieces of content from that than writing 30 pieces. You know what I'm saying? Even though, if I'm going to be absolutely real, in a lot of ways, they do very similar things. Documentation allows you to freeze frame any given moment in your process instead of only showing the final end product. So I'm trying this thing where I show you exactly examples in my life that I'm able to pull out. So for example, I recently started playing in a reggae band for church, and this is an easy representation of that. I've shown that I have played with these people, that I'm worthy, I guess, to play in one of these bands, and that I am getting the training and the skill sets required. And it's not just the final performance, that's the rehearsal video. There's another rehearsal video right here where I was doing pardon the shitty camera quality audio from all these things, but the whole point is that instead of only doing the performance, the one-time performance, I've now shared the process with everyone who follows me on Instagram and whatnot. I've shown these little snippets of things that I'm working on currently in my life, and that all of these things will be good pieces of content for people who are looking to grow in their own lives and see how they should be doing these things. And what I found is the stuff that works best and that people care about, first of all, it has to be quality, and it has to be consistently in their faces. If the easier you are in, the more visible you are, the more times you pop up in someone's timeline or whatever, the more times you're likely to be seen. It's honestly just that simple. I mean, you don't want to bombard people, but people are much more lenient than you think. Only once in a blue moon do I find myself spamming something, and 99% of the time I'm not. You want quality content. You want people to want to be spammed, if that makes sense. The more content you have, the more chances people will see you. The better content you have, the more people will want to stick around. And so those are the two things that I try to keep in mind in doing these podcasts and doing these When Cooks with Fire and Instagram stuff, all that same two ideas, and in my music as well. And part two, it showcases the process that people want to see, including the growth. So for example, if you go on my portfolio, there's stuff from very, very early on. This was actually my first band. Let's see if it'll actually play. Blah blah. So it's all right. But there's a cool little bit of video associated. There's a little documentation. Shout out to Matthew Minusko, by the way. I don't know if you're ever gonna watch this, but shout out to you. He's a really great videographer, and I found him, blah blah, and stuff like this. This is not representative of what I'm currently doing at all right now. Shout out to Meech, he's a cool dude. But it really moves into like what I've currently done. People can see the growth as like you scroll further and further up, and stuff like this, like Windows Infinity was a really cool project to work on. I wish I got better documentation for this, but here we are. I still got some stills from when I presented it at what was that called, Virginia X at CNU. It was a lot of fun. But you can really see like the growth I've had as a musician and as like just a content creator overall, like what my stuff has gone to. And the more intimate, honestly, the more connection you'll have with people, and the more connection you have with people, the more initiative people will have to stay. So for example, like I constantly put stuff on my stories about who I am as a person. Yesterday I went to Pride, and it's not just like random stuff. I want people to get to know me as like a person and as a musician and producer and whatnot. But it's people can take away, like people can see the process, the entire process, not just the little end snippet. So for example, I have Elysium, which is a piece that I wrote. So that's a good start of like what Elysium's all about, and not what I meant to do. And you can see the final end product here, but an easy way that people tend to document things historically has been through sheet music. So if you look here, you can see how things are done, blah de blah, the setup, what people actually saw. This is the score for anyone curious. It's basically a script with lots of color coding and whatnot, but stuff like that. So that's another form of documentation that's really important. I mean, nowadays it's really cool to have a medium that we can just translate audio directly to each other without actually having to do much with it. We don't actually have to write down everything now. Video and audio have made life so much easier. Because to experience like Windows Infinity, it's an absolute bitch to set up because it's spatial audio, Cyclorama, virtual environment. But like now you can just see it in a picture, which is absolutely crazy if you think about it from a very long time ago. Obviously it's not the same effect, but this will long outlast like the actual like 1 10-minute viewing that you witness and whatnot. And in a lot of ways, it really showcases your work long after you're gone. So sheet music is the typical documentation. We already talked about that. Other mediums like video and writing can be used as well. Elysium, the score for Elysium is writing. Video is direct, and so is audio, and which is really cool. I really like how direct video and audio is. It's really changed the way we perceive music, and like you don't necessarily have to be trained the exact same way as like people historically have been now. Blah de blah, and those are like a lot of options. So everyone, if anything, you really should be considering documenting everything. And if you look here, like it's not that hard. You can run Instagram and Facebook at the same time. So all this material stuff comes directly from my Instagram. You can link that together, and that'll be an easy way of getting everything to put together. But anyways, that's a musician's perspective. Thank y'all for tuning in. I'll catch y'all later.
Fuck Win, though.